Kelly Marie Alvarez here with a video for Simon Says Stamp, and today I'm going to be stamping out my Fab Flowers stamp set. So I'm stamping these out in some Merman ink, and then I'm going to be taking the second layer and stamping that out in Peacock. And so I love that this is a stamp layering set, but it's super easy, super fun to do, and they're really cute, kind of funky flowers. So I'm going to layer all of my pieces on top of those. And then I'm also going to stamp out some of the greenery in some freshly cut grass ink and the details in some noble fir. And then I'm going to move on to another color. So I've got some guava ink here, and then I'm going to layer lobster on top. And then I will do the same here with some sunflower ink with carrot on top. And then also some butter ink with sunflower on top. And here I'm going to be double stamping my fresh lavender ink, right one on top of the other to create a darker ink. You'll see I'm going to do that one more time, so one on top of the other so that my sugar plum details match perfectly with it. And then I'm also going to be taking some celery stick here with some freshly cut grass details too. Then here I have some peachy keen and some guava right on top. And then here I wanted to show you this chart that I created. So I decided to stamp out all of my flowers with all of my ink. So I stamped all of my light pinks and then layered my darkest and then next darkest and the next darkest pinks and reds on top, and did that for all of my colors. And that way I have a chart that I can go to not only to see what colors actually even work together, but also what colors are going to be perfect for my project. So I totally recommend creating one of these charts. Now I'm going to line up my coordinating dies with all of these cute flowers, run them through my die cut machine, and die cut them all out. And I love how they look once they're all die cut. And then here you can see all of those images. I won't be using them all today, but I like to die cut a ton at once so I can make cards in the future. Now here I'm going to be using How You Bean to create a jar for this set, and we size these sets to work together on purpose, so they look really cool together. So here I'm using the shaker add-on die, and I've cut my frame and then my base, and I've also cut my acetate piece. And now I'm going to be cutting my foam piece. So I am trimming up some fun foam here. That's just that dollar store fun foam stuff. And I'm going to layer some Stick It on it. And Stick It is a very thin sheet of adhesive. So I am going to cut 2 squares of the adhesive that are going to layer on to my piece. And I'm going to peel off one of the backings and then layer that sticky piece right on top of the foam. And by doing this, I'm creating my own custom foam sticker. So I'm going to layer that piece on, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing with the other side. And now I've got Stick It on either side, creating a sticker that's going to make my shaker. So I ran that through my die cut machine with my frame die from the shaker add-on, and now I've got a foam frame. So here I've got my base, then my foam frame, then my acetate, and then my decorative frame for on top. Now, because I want this to look like a jar filled with water with flowers in it, I am using my BG 10, 11, and BG 70 markers to create some water in the jar, and I'm stopping it about 3/4 of the way up the jar. I'm going to color the frame and then color the base to match it so that it looks seamless when we layer the two on top of each other. So I'm just coloring right on top, really blending all of those markers, and you'll see when you layer the two, it looks really great and it looks completely continuous. Now I'm going to peel this little liner tape off one side, and I'm going to be able to stick that foam to my base. Now I'm going to use my EK Success powder tool to run it all along the inside edges to make sure that it's not sticky. So I'm touching it to make sure all the stickiness is gone, and then now I'm ready to add my sequins. So I'm using some Caribbean Dream sequins here because it really does look like water. I think they're just so pretty. And then I'm going to peel off that last backing to expose the adhesive, and I can attach my acetate right on top, and my shaker is starting to form. So you can see how cool that's looking already. Now I'm going to add a bunch of tape to the top lid of the jar there on the back, and I'm going to layer my stems inside the jar. So because I've got that adhesive there, I can layer right on the back of the jar, and then I can trim off all of those ends. So you can see now we're just seeing the little stems through the jar. I am adding some strong score tape there to the back of my jar, and now I can layer that on top to finish the shaker portion of this card. Now here I've got a banner from Bannertastic, and I'm going to use Happy Happy Happy, and I'm going to put some acetate on top of that and then curve my stamp to match the banner. The acetate is going to hold that curve in place. I'm going to pick it up with my block, and then I can stamp it, and that's much easier than trying to curve it directly on the block. I'm going to stamp that in some black licorice ink, and now I can start to fill my jar with flowers. So I'm going to layer a bunch of different flowers stamped in a bunch of different colors. I use my chart to help me figure out what colors I think would look best, and I'm just going to layer them until this jar is nice and full and colorful, and I'll just keep adding things until I think it looks perfect. And so it's really fun to create your own custom little flower garden here. So I'm going to layer all of those little green grasses and a little peachy keen flower there at the end, one more little leaf, and this is looking really great. Now I want this card, I want the shaker to be the card base. So I'm going to score a piece of cardstock in half here and fold it. And then I'm going to take my die and I'm going to line it up so that the top portion of my die is outside the paper so that it won't cut the paper all the way through. And by doing this, I've actually created a jar-shaped little note card. So all I need to do is add a bunch of adhesive to this card and I can attach it to the back of my shaker, and now my entire flower-filled shaker is its card too. So I just think that's so cool. Now I'm going to take that Banner-tastic banner and layer that right on top, and then I'll take the Happy from the Happy 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 set that I die cut and layer that on top too. Now to finish off the back, I'm just trimming a little white piece here, and I'm going to adhere that to the back just to make sure that those flowers are going to really hold in place. And this card is done, and it's so cool. I love that it's a shaker, which is awesome. And I love that I was able to combine 4 different stamp sets with Fab Flowers, How You Bean, Happy Happy Happy, and Banner-tastic, which is so fun. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!